I don't think federal engineers have unique challenges. We have some of the same ones that everybody has. Dealing in the government, there's obviously bureaucracy, but my friends who are in large companies also have bureaucracies to deal with. Finance, being able to fund the projects that you think need to be done is always a challenge regardless of who you work for.
There are amazing opportunities in working for the federal government, specifically in contrast to the private sector. When I first got into the military and the Air Force, one of my good friends who I went to school with went out and did his civilian job and was employed obviously right away and at a good salary and fairly comparable. We were making the same amount of money, but he had hands-on engineering, board design sort of experience, and I got a little bit of that, but mostly more managerial level. And very quickly, the tide turned where my friend on the outside actually was very jealous of the opportunities that we had in the Air Force and in the military because of managing multi-million-dollar projects and the number of people on these things, 150 people working for you on 24-hour shifts, and it's amazing to have this kind of responsibility at a very young age, and you learn so many lessons. The military specifically has a very short life, and you have to do it while you're young, and you get these opportunities to really make a difference, not only in your country, in the United States, but in other countries, in Iraq and Afghanistan, and even in Haiti. We've got engineers out there now. The educational opportunities are amazing as well. I've been sent to school multiple times. I'm coming up on, going to go to Monterey, California for another education opportunity and get another master's there. So it's going to be, couldn't be a better storybook life. It's amazing to hear and I read back through kind of what I've done and just think, wow, we're just so lucky and blessed to have gone to all these different places and seen these things and gone with my family and traveled all around the world. So it's an amazing opportunity that the federal government affords you while you're completing and making the mission happen. So it is definitely a lifestyle that a lot of people enjoy, and I very much enjoy being a part of the federal government.
Right. Well, there's such a big variety of what we do in the federal government, so it gives you an opportunity to maintain a stable work base, as far as your retirement and your career development goes, while trying different facets of engineering and finding out really where you're best suited to serve. And so I think that's unique. Without having to change employers, you're able to move around both geographically and job-wise. So I think that's a unique opportunity. I think some of the challenges that I've seen is staying in tune with the private sector and kind of the financial strains and burdens that are placed on them when interacting with the federal government. I think sometimes we lose focus on what it's like to be a construction contractor or another entity that has to interact with us on the engineering side.
I actually ran the engineer recruitment program for the Public Health Service other than the Indian Health Service for about 3 years. And we marshaled an associate engineering program which allowed us to reach out using our existing engineers wherever they're stationed to go and talk with the students that were nearby. That's actually how I was recruited. I was recruited by an engineer that worked in the city where I went to my undergraduate program. So yeah, I think we do have some significant challenges. We're seeing more and more the engineers that were our fathers and grandfathers retiring. Some of us were joking earlier today that work with dams like I do now, that our grandfathers built the dams, fathers operated them, and we're getting paid to remove them. And it's likely going to be our kids that are going to build them back again. The issue, though, is that we're just not turning out as many engineering students anymore. And I understand it's an exceedingly challenging curriculum, and it certainly hasn't gotten any easier in the last 20 years since I left. But it's an exceedingly rewarding job, and I've never lacked for work because it is not easy. The rewards are not commensurate with the level of effort in school for dollars. However, on the federal side, I think we have a mission that lends itself to much more peace of mind and stability than in the private sector.
There are so many opportunities for engineers of every discipline in the federal government. Working for the Defense Department, I've been exposed to an aircraft, the aviation communities, that support network that keeps our aircraft flying assets available to our Marines and our troops in the field. But in the federal government, there are so many things. If you're interested in civil engineering, if you want to build bridges or dams, if you want to build ships, if you want to be involved in those systems, if you want to be involved in high-tech advances in weaponry, or there's just so many opportunities available to engineers in government.
Since I work for the federal government, I didn't really move to anywhere. I just stay on one job for all these 20-some years. I'm with government, so I don't really have experience to move around. But I did see a lot of people moving around and end up with a happier position. That is the diversity of the government. That's another good thing about working for the federal government. And although I don't have my personal experience in there, but certainly I see a lot of things happen that way.
I think unique opportunities and challenges. First of all, they are unlimited with the federal government. I think the engineer is in a perfect position to solve a lot of those challenges. We have a lot of federal agencies that hire engineers. We have the Corps of Engineers, the Federal Highway Department, the Bureau of Rec, just to name a few. Also, what's unique with the federal government is we deal with projects from the planning stage through design, construction, operation, and long-term inspection of those projects. So I think right there it gives you a great opportunity. And a young engineer can come in and be a project manager in a planning stage, or he can become a design engineer, or a construction manager. Also, you can become a subject matter expert for the Corps of Engineers or the federal government. So I think the opportunities are really unlimited for them in that area.